let me show you this. We've all usually done this before. Most of us have done this. If I want to select 18 files to delete them because I don't need them anymore, what do I do? And how do I highlight them? Yeah, I hold down the control button and I just select the different files I want to delete, right? Most of us have done that before, right? Well, guess what? Microsoft is ingenious. Once you start understanding how they work, you're just like, oh my gosh. Because when you do something in one program, guess what it does in the other programs? Exact same things. So if I'm in Excel and I want to select a bunch of non-adjacent cells, what do you think I might do? Hold down the control button and select them.
When you say select,
I'm just clicking the click button. And it's selected all those non-adjacent cells. See the different shading? Just like I would select different files. Now, if I'm in my file button here and I want to select all the way from here down to here, what do? I can hold down the Shift key and select the 2 and it selects everything in between. Right? Most of us have done that. So Shift selects everything in between. Or someone else said I could hold down the control button and select up here and click, holding the click button down, drag it all the way down, it would select them. Same thing in Excel. So if I'm in Excel, right, and I want to select a bunch of cells that are together, I just click the first one and the last one holding down the Shift key, and it selects all of them. Now, if I'm doing data entry, and I'm doing it on a bunch of non-adjacent cells like this, and I know which cells I need to change, but so what can I do? Now watch this. Are you ready? If I just hit the Tab key, look what happens. What's going on? It's going to all those cells in the order that I selected them. So if I know that I need to change a bunch of information in Excel for data entry, and they're all not the adjacent cells, but I know which ones they are, I can use the control button and the mouse and spend maybe a minute going and selecting all the cells. And then what do? I put my hands on the keyboard and just tab, 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 tab. And one tab will bring you to the next cell of information you have to change. Rather than always having to mouse over, curse back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth.
Just again, if you want to delete the information in each cell as you're going through.
You just hit the delete key, tab, delete tab, delete tab. If you wanted to delete the information in the cell as you're going through, you just hit delete tab instead of typing in information. If you only wanted to delete certain cells.
So do the order you said, push tab after you highlight.
Yeah, after you highlighted them with the control button and the mouse, you just hit tab, it'll move through them in the same order you selected them. Whatever that is. Now, other ways for data entry, other ways for doing things with the cell. Let's say, and this is on the bottom of page 5, let's say you want to make row number 2 bold. What do? Highlight row 2, and then what do? You go to bold, right? Now, when you print, how many people have ever printed and got 43 blank pages? And you go and you select everything and you delete and you go to print and you still get 43 blank pages? Right? Anybody? I'm the only one? No one else has ever had that happen? Why do you get 43 blank pages when you print? Because what Excel does is Excel says, you know what? Anything you put in the cell is something that's important. Otherwise, why would you put it there? Well, if I select row 2 and I hit bold, what just happened? Yes, I selected all 16,000 columns in 2007 and put bolding in them. So now when I go to print, I print off all those bolded cells that have nothing in them. So what does it look like? A blank page. Now if I go and I select all these cells and I hit delete, am I clearing the bold formatting? No. Right? So if I want to do that, what I have to do in 2007 is I go to Home. Now this one isn't in your book, so I'll tell you what it is differently in 03. I go to Home Clear. Instead of Clear Contents, I want Clear All. And that will clear the formatting. So now those worksheets that always print 43 blank pages, if you just select all the information that's not adjacent to those cells and hit Clear All, now you're going to stop printing those 43 blank pages. Now I say 43 because in 2003, if you bold across the row, you get 43, and if you bold a column, you get like 800 and something. I don't even remember, but you get a lot of blank pages. In 2007, it'll be a lot more because there's 16,000 columns wide and over 1 million rows deep, which is like a lot more. So what do I do now that we know this is why I get so many blank pages? What do I do now if I want to select just row 2? Well, the secret is Control makes everything bigger. You've seen me use it a few times. If I hold down the Control button, it does shortcuts, or it selects more than one cell. Control makes everything bigger. So if I use my arrow keys, I can eventually get to the end, right? Up and down, left and right. So if I use the Control key, hold it down, and press the arrow to the right, what do you think is going to happen? It goes right to the end of the row, the end of my data. So the Control key makes everything bigger. So what does the Shift key do again? If I hold down the Shift key, what's going to happen? It'll select everything between my two choices. Well, you know what? It doesn't matter if my choices are in between mouse clicks, or if my choices are in between arrow keys, or if my choices are in between anything. It doesn't matter where those choices are. So if I hold down my Shift key in between the Control and arrow right, so if I hold down Shift, Control, arrow right, what do you think is going to happen? It's going to select entire row 3, because I was on row 3. All the way to the end. Now what do? Now I hit Control B, which is a shortcut for bold. And I don't get a bunch of blank pages. What if I want to select all of column A? Now, if I hit Home, what normally happens? Goes to the beginning of the row, right? Well, if I hit Control Home, what do you think is going to happen? It goes to the very beginning of the worksheet. If I hit Control End, what do you think happens? Goes to the end of the worksheet. So Control just makes whatever. If I hit, here's another shortcut for you. If I hit Page Up and Page Down, what normally happens? It goes up and down in the worksheet, right? But if I hit Control Page Up, what do you think it might do with the worksheets? Control Page Up goes to additional worksheets up in the workbook. If I hit Control Page Down, it goes to different worksheets in the workbook. Because if you use your mouse to go to the different worksheets, you just missed the first rule I told you today, which was what? 40% of your day will be saved by using shortcuts. So the Control and Page Up and Page Down actually moves between the worksheets. So let's go back. So now I want to select all of column A. How do I do that? Well, if I do that and do something with this cell, what's going to happen now? All the way down to row 1,400,000 and whatever it is in Excel is going to be whatever I just did. So what can I do instead of selecting column A if I want to select all the data in column A? Yep. Control, Shift, arrow down. Because how many of us used to select all of column A? It's not going to work so well. 2007 they fixed it. I was going to show you in 2003 because it's more funny. Where am I at? There we go. That's why. So if I want to select all of column A, how many of you used to take the mouse and go like this? Ooh, up, and then 2003 it would go way too far, and then we go back up and it go way too far, right? 2007 with the mouse, they actually made it pause for a moment at the end of your list because they knew it was happening, right? But in 2003 or 7, what's an easier way because we don't want to use the mouse? I can do Control, Shift, arrow down. Selects all of column A. If I want to select my entire list, what can I do? Well, I could do that, but then if I come up here and tick this, what she's talking about, what's going to happen now? If I do some sort of bold or something, what's going to happen? It does it to all millions of cells. So if I want to select just my list, what's the easier way to do it? If I'm anywhere in my list, all I have to do is hit Control A. Control A is what's called Select All. All of my text, A, selected. Control A will select. And what Excel does is it automatically expands down to the bottom of your list and over to the right of your list. And we'll get into lists more this afternoon, but Control A will select everything. So using the Control keys, the Shift keys, the arrow keys, the Home key, the End key, what you can now do is you can now move and select and around Excel the worksheets quicker than you can with the mouse.